on me. Put it on that screen. I'm gonna do an intro and then go into this video.
Go ahead, John.
This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa through the police body cam. Judge Carol Weimer, you are under the microscope. Judge Carol Weimer, the presiding judge. What we're going to do today on this podcast is we're going to remove you from under this microscope. We're going to take you out, remove you, and instead put Mustafa's defense attorney under this microscope. We're going to take a hard look at Mustafa's defense attorney, Brad Hayward. And we're going to ask the question, what has Brad Hayward done in the Mustafa Al-Jazari since he was assigned into Mustafa's case in February? What has he done in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case? Brad Hayward, what has he done since he filed Carol Weimer? We're going to go over the motion for the Brady motion that he put forward, dive and look at the and we're going to dive into the transcript. Now, this podcast is simply reporting on the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. We're asking questions. We're putting Mustafa's defense attorney under this microscope. We want to find out. And the question is Mustafa's defense attorney working for Mustafa? That's a good question. And the community is the deciding factor. Is Mustafa's defense attorney, has Mustafa's defense attorney been threatened by the police? There's a lot of things that he's doing in this case that show that this defense attorney is questionable. Based on the transcript, based on what he's doing in court, based on how he withdrew everything that he was granted by Judge Carol Weimer. Judge Carol Weimer granted him to go after the police department, missing body cams, missing exculpatory evidence. Judge Carol Weimer, in a Brady motion, granted Mustafa's defense attorney, Brad Hayward, to go after this prosecutor to find out and get the missing body cam that's going to show that the police department falsified a whole entire case. In an order after the Brady motion, Brad Hayward is no longer pursuing material that's going to uncover what the police department done in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. The police department falsified a whole entire case. We have evidence that show Mustafa's statement has been falsified. We have evidence, body cams and document evidence that show the police department crushed and staged Mustafa's vehicle. We have evidence that show the police department cut and muted Mustafa's dash camera. Mustafa Al-Jazari has a dash camera inside his vehicle. The police department cut and muted that dash camera.
They're concealing home videos.
The police department is concealing home videos that show it's a beautiful relationship. Google Nest videos.
Contradict the entire case.
Contradict the whole entire case. The police department, we have evidence that show the police department weaponized a 9, a 10, a 14, a 16 against Mustafa. Weaponized them. I mean, at one point, we have a forensic interview that the child is talking about, that the police told him Mustafa crashed the vehicle on purpose. Mustafa ran away, left his 5-year-old baby sister to bleed to death. And if it wasn't for Mustafa running away, the police could have saved their 5-year-old baby sister. That's what they're telling
in other words,
children.
Child abuse.
That's child abuse.
By the police.
Now, wait a minute. Mustafa was in a coma, but they're telling the kids that Mustafa ran away. They're lying and weaponizing the children. That is the definition of child abuse. Now,
coaching witnesses on body cam. He's coaching them.
We have body cams. We have body cams that show the main investigator, Robert Drum, is coaching witnesses.
People that don't even know Mustafa.
So we have body cams, and Judge Carol Weimer granted Mustafa's defense attorney, Brad Hayward, the Brady motion to go and uncover the rest of the body cam that's going to show how the police department falsified this whole entire case. Brad Hayward, after a meeting with the prosecutor Sarah Sammy, prosecutor Stephanie Buck, is no longer pursuing what he was granted to uncover this case. And the question is, was Brad Hayward threatened into backing off the police department? We're going to dive into the transcript. We're going to dive into the motion and the community. You don't have to worry about me giving you my opinion. The community is the deciding factor. Now, this podcast is not to attack Mustafa's defense attorney. We're just simply reporting on this case, and we're asking questions.
We're asking the tough questions.
We're asking the tough questions.
The
and we
refuse to ask.
And we ask that Brad Hayward is always welcome to come forward and be on this podcast and answer the questions that we're asking. What is he doing in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case? He's always welcome to come forward. As a matter of fact, he has his own social media outlets on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube. He can always come forward on his social media outlet, but he's more than welcome to be on our podcast. And Brad Hayward, Mustafa's defense attorney, sir, you cannot hide behind that this case is sealed, because before you signed on to this case in February of this year, this case was already unsealed. We've already released the sealed body cams and the discovery. It's no longer sealed. I managed to get my hand on the sealed file. I've already released it on the internet. So it's already released. It's already public information. And now that it's already been released, you can absolutely comment on the material that's being released. But you haven't done that yet. And the question is, why? Why are you not coming forward about what the police department has done to your client, Mustafa Al-Jazari? Why is this platform fighting for your client harder than you're fighting for your client? As a matter of fact, are you concealing what the police department is doing to your client? That's a good question. Do me a favor, go into Exhibit. We're going to play a video. Attorney under the microscope. I think it's a very interesting video. Do me a favor, go over to Exhibits. And that's our introduction to the podcast.
For anyone watching on TikTok, you can tune in through the YouTube channel, Not Another Boring Podcast, and you can follow the videos, the exhibits that you're playing.
Absolutely. And what we're going to go through, we're going to go through the Brady motion that Brad Hayward filed. We're going to go through the motion in opposition that prosecutor Sarah Sammy filed. And then we're going to dive into the transcript.
Fair enough. Let's go.
Anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed.
Okay.
Okay? If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay.
If you disclose that information in any way, all of it needs to be destroyed now. But if you disclose it in any way, it's going to put me in a position where I will have to withdraw from the case. If you all choose to go on the internet and try to publicize this stuff, that's going to create real problems.
Okay.
You can't do it, is what I'm telling you. You cannot do it. I will have to move to withdraw from the case.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So make sure everybody's aware of that. Okay. If any of that is posted anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed.
Okay.
Okay. If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay.
If you,
All right, do me a favor, go ahead and take her off Exhibit. Okay.
All right.
This is put on that camera right there. This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa through the police body cams. Brad Hayward, Mustafa's defense attorney, you are under the microscope. I want to thank Mohammed for being here. Mohammed, thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. Anytime.
Now, what I'm going to do before we dive into the motion for the Brady that Brad Hayward put forward, before we dive into the motion in opposition for the prosecutor and what she filed, before we dive into the transcript, I think it's fair so everybody can easily follow what we're talking about is give a proper timeline into what when Brad Hayward entered the Mustafa Al-Jazari case and what has he filed since he's assigned to Mustafa's case. I think that's a good way of doing it.
Yeah. I mean, he came on, in February of 2025, and he was assigned by the government because at the time, Blake Weiner, who was a paid lawyer, had withdrawn from the case because he couldn't do what Mustafa was asking him to do, which was show us the evidence, show Mustafa the evidence. And at the time, Mustafa had a list of very basic demands for a defendant. Basic demands, asking about the home videos. Why are they not on the record? Even though the police extracted Mustafa's cell phone, Dorothy's cell phone data dump, which was, and it's unusual because the county, the prosecutor, she put it on a hard drive instead of entering it in like every other piece of evidence into evidence.com. She decided to put it on a separate hard drive that she physically mailed it to the lawyer. And Blake Weiner mailed it to Elaine Jarvis. And when you get to court, Elaine says, I didn't go through it. Blake says, well, I didn't go through it because Elaine said she was going to go through it. Elaine says the same thing. She didn't have time. She couldn't go through it. No one has gone through it. Not Blake, not Elaine. Two paid lawyers.
The prosecutor is avoiding the hard drive from Mustafa's cell phone and Dorothy's 3 cell phone extraction.
Fair enough. What's on this hard drive?
The defense attorney is avoiding the hard drive. What's on this
hard drive? The current
drive?
Defense attorney is avoiding the hard drive.
Oh, absolutely. He's avoiding the hard
Mustafa
drive.
says, I wanted that were sent between Dorothy and I. They're very relevant to this case. Prosecutor and the police, Robert Jump specifically, in his warrant, swears to his affidavit and says Mustafa was an abusive partner. He was abusing the children. He was abusing Dorothy. He's saying that this was a toxic relationship. So it's fair for Mustafa to say, that's not true. Let's take a look at my communication with Dorothy. Let's take a look at Dorothy's communication with me. And to take it a step further, if you watch the body cam...
And that's exculpatory evidence.
If you watch the body cam with Glenn Ford and investigator Rob Davis, Glenn Ford makes allegations that him and Dorothy had communication, negative communication about Mustafa. And when Davis is asking Glenn Ford, the ex-boyfriend, he says, can I see those messages? He says, oh, I deleted them. Okay, well, how did she text you? He says she texted him through Instagram, through Facebook Messenger, and regular text messages. And you're telling me you deleted all of those? On every platform, you deleted Dorothy's communication saying negative things about Mustafa? Okay, that's fine. If that's the case, let's have a look at Dorothy's phone. Since the police did an extraction of all the data on Dorothy's phone, let's have a look and see if Glenn Ford is telling the truth. But the problem here is we know he's lying. We know for a fact he's lying. And the prosecutor has not cited a single item from the data dump. I mean, according to Blake Weiner, this is a flash, this is a hard drive close to a terabyte of information from Mustafa's phone. And by the way,
so Mustafa sits in solitary confinement for 2.5 years.
The relationship between Mustafa and Dorothy is no longer than 3 months. So it's not that hard for Brad Hayward to say, Mustafa, I've printed all of your text messages from your phone. I've looked at Dorothy's phone and who she had communication with. here's the communication that you've been asking for 2.5 years, that no other lawyer, 7 other lawyers did not go through. Okay? Now, why is he not doing it? Again, we go back to what is on this hard drive that is so damning to the county, that is so damning to prosecutor Sarah Sammy and this whole entire case. It goes against the narrative of the police. It goes against the narrative of the prosecutor, because Mustafa and Dorothy had an Alexa. That's how the children communicated with them whenever they left the apartment. There was a Google Nest camera that is plugged into the apartment, and it's constantly recording every motion in that apartment. And every time one of the children wants to communicate with Dorothy and Mustafa, all they simply have to do is run across this camera and say, hey, Mom, X, Y, and Z. Or hey, Alexa, send Mom a message, send Mustafa a message. I want ice cream, I want cookies, whatever. All that is stored onto Mustafa's cell phone. It's stored on Dorothy's cell phone. So Alexa kept a track record of every message that was incoming from the children to Mustafa and Dorothy. That's a record that is there on the phone. And the police are completely ignoring it as if it does not exist. Same thing with Google Nest. Every video is sent to Mustafa's phone. Whenever there's motion on that camera, it sends it automatically to the phone. So we found the Google Nest because we were able to log into Mustafa's iCloud.
So you're saying Mustafa's cell phone has an app for the dash camera that's inside his vehicle.
Oh, also the dash camera. That's the third item. The dash camera is also linked to Mustafa's cell phone. And how do we know that? Because Robert Drum on October 31st testified that there is dash cam footage on Mustafa's phone that was retrieved through this data dump. So this hard drive 100% carries Mustafa's dash cam footage.
Now, this is exculpatory evidence because the prosecutor tells the Judge Weimer, the presiding judge, that Mustafa is a horrible driver and that he uses his driving to scare his family. That he's a horrible driver. Wouldn't it make sense that knowing that
they DoorDashed together? So
exactly, knowing that the main investigator is saying Mustafa's dash camera, that Mustafa DoorDashes. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if Mustafa DoorDashes and there's videos of him DoorDashing on his dash camera, why is that not on the record for 2.5 years?
Exactly.
And why are they avoiding the DoorDash video? And that's exculpatory evidence. The fact that the prosecutor is saying that Mustafa has a horrible drive, that Mustafa is not a good driver, he uses the way he drives scares his family. Well, let's look at his dash camera. Instead, the police department is hiding the videos where Mustafa DoorDashes.
So here's the thing. I can understand the prosecutors being scared of this data dump, but what's going on with his lawyer? Okay? The government is paying Brad Hayward, close to $100,000. Whenever he asks for funds, Judge Willett grants that money. Okay? Matter of fact, the government even gave Brad Hayward, because this is such a big case, the government gave Brad Hayward his very own paid private investigator.
Brad Hayward says he's been assigned since February. Brad Hayward says he hasn't gone through the drive.
He hasn't gone through the drive.
And refuses to sit down with his client, Mustafa Al-Jazari, to go over that drive.
Okay, he says he's busy. I understand. You're a very busy lawyer. Well, you have a paid private investigator who, by the way, according to the record, has already collected close to $10,000, if I'm not mistaken. He's already been paid $10,000.
By the way, that's not the updated number yet.
That's not the updated number.
He's gotten a lot more since.
Okay, so how hard is it? How much do you get paid per hour? $300, $400? Okay. You are telling me that you can't take an hour of your time and print out these messages, print out this data dump, or allow Mustafa, bring your laptop in and tell Mustafa, hey, buddy, you are very concerned about this hard drive that, according to the record, I don't know how many lawyers Mustafa's had, 7 at this point. 7 lawyers failed to even acknowledge that this hard drive exists of your data dump that has the Google Nest, it has Alexa, It's got the dash camera. It's got communication between you and Dorothy. It's got pictures between you and Dorothy and the children. I mean, this hard drive is very relevant and very important. You want to go over it? That's fine. I'm going to bring it in. Let's dedicate 2 to 4 hours of my precious time to show you this information. Okay. And, or if you don't have the time, package it in a way to where it's printable and send it to your client. Your client is sitting in solitary confinement and he's telling you, the prosecutor and the police are accusing me of 1, 2, 3, and the information that's on this hard drive is going to disprove what they're accusing me of.
So let me ask you a question. Is it fair to say
It's
that the
not
prosecutor, look, let me ask you a question. I've managed, okay, so Commonwealth attorney 2.5 years ago sealed off the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. What that means, if you were to put a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, your FOIA is going to be denied. You can't get the body cams. You can't get any document.
You can't get anything in this case.
You can't even get the dash camera in Mustafa's vehicle.
Okay.
It's going to be denied. Now, since then, I managed to gain access into the police department server, evidence.com, and I've managed to take the whole file. Whatever they have in the server, the body cam, the discovery,
unredacted.
I have it. The dash camera, I have it. Now, what I'm finding out that the police department, before uploading it to that server, they edited, cut a whole line of body cams, the dash camera. They edited the evidence before uploading it to the server. Because when I took the file, it's all cut and it edited. Now, the cell phone dump. Is it fair to say that the prosecutor is avoiding the cell phone dump? And the reason I say that, because normally the police department would do a cell phone dump as digital items and upload it to the server. That's exculpatory evidence.
Normally, in a normal case.
Now, why would the prosecutor, unless she's avoiding this material,
she doesn't want anybody to go through it.
She downloads it into a separate flash drive, and any lawyer that enters this case, she mails them.
She has to physically mail
them the hard drive. Now, so we know it's fair to say the prosecutor is avoiding
100%
the hard drive. For 2.5 years, she never talked about what's on this hard drive. Never once used the text messages, used any material in this hard drive when she's litigating her case against Mustafa. So it's fair to say the prosecutor is avoiding what's on this hard drive.
I mean, by the way, that's very odd. In a case where you're accusing a man of having a toxic relationship, you're accusing a man of abusing children that were living in this apartment. And not once did you present evidence from the hard drive, from Mustafa's cell phone. Not once did you present evidence from this hard drive to support your accusations.
So
not once.
It's fair to say that whatever is on this hard drive is damaging to the case that the prosecutor, Sarah Sammy, and prosecutor Stephanie Buck is bringing against Mustafa.
Not only is it damaging, I think it's going to dismantle the entire case.
All right,
and that's why they have it separated. Whenever a lawyer comes onto the case, they have to physically mail you the hard drive. Why?
So,
I mean, it's 2025. Everything is digital. In 2025, you can easily add something to evidence.com and give the lawyer the link to open it up.
All right, so let me answer this. Is it fair to say that Mustafa's defense attorney not sitting down with Mustafa and going over this hard drive? I mean, he's been assigned to Mustafa's case since February.
Since February.
We're in November.
We're at the end of November.
Is it fair to say that when Mustafa's defense attorney, Brad Hayward, not sitting down with Mustafa, he didn't go over it?
He didn't go over it. He said I didn't go over it.
Brad Hayward told me that he didn't go over it. Now, is it fair to say he said he didn't go over it? He's refusing to sit down with Mustafa and go over this hard drive. Is it fair to say that Brad Hayward is protecting the prosecutor and the police department who falsified Mustafa's case by avoiding the hard drive?
By avoiding information that is going to make the police, is going to show that the police have acted in a criminal manner. When Robert Drum falsifies a warrant, when he falsifies an affidavit, I mean, they've built an entire case. Imagine, they built an entire case on a falsified narrative, and this narrative could be easily disproven using only this hard drive. this hard drive carries the key. It's got the Google Nest. When you say, by the way, when prosecutor Sammy stood in court that first Monday when Mustafa was arrested, she told the courts, she said, Your Honor, he forced Dorothy and Empress into the car. That's what she said. She said Mustafa forced Dorothy and Empress into the car so that he can crash the car, okay, and kill everybody, including himself. That's what the prosecutor said in court. Now, when you have a hard drive that has video evidence, Google Nest videos on this hard drive, on Mustafa's cell phone, that contradicts that narrative, it shows the prosecutor flat out lied. And then the prosecutor is going to tell you, she's going to say, well, I got this information from the police, from Robert Drum. Well, Robert Drum is the one that took this information. He's the one that downloaded Mustafa's hard drive, or his cell phone. He's the one that downloaded Dorothy's cell phone. His job, the police's job, is to thoroughly go through this hard drive, through the cell phone data dump, okay, and document their findings. Now, they went through, I guarantee you, they went through the cell phone data dump. They went through the text messages. They went through the cell phone. They went through Mustafa's dash camera. And they thought, if we present this information onto evidence.com, force Dorothy and Empress. So the only way to do it is to hide this information. Robert Drum can't go to a judge, a magistrate judge, and get a warrant signed and swear to an affidavit when this information is he's going to conceal it. He's going to ask the prosecutor, hey, it's in the best interest of the police department and the prosecutor's office to put a seal on this case. Let's seal off this case. And number two, we have to ensure that Mustafa is held without bond. Because if he's sitting behind bars, all we have to do is make a deal with his lawyer not to go through the hard drive. Okay? Or all we have to do is say, maybe the lawyer is not going to think about the hard drive. He's just going to overlook it. That's what they're hoping on. But the fact that we are raising this question today and the lawyers have refused to acknowledge that there is a hard drive with all this damaging information to the prosecutor, it shows you that the lawyers are A, scared, they've been intimidated or threatened, or they're compromised.
Well, when you say, okay, all right. So Mustafa's cell phone has apps for his dash camera inside his vehicle, has an app for the Google Nest system, video system that's in the apartment, has an app for the Alexa. That automatically, when you do a cell phone dump, is going to download those videos into, that's the cell phone dump. You download
By the
all
way,
those
on
videos.
both cell phones, Dorothy and Mustafa's.
Now, for 2.5 years, the prosecutor and Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, she came out on NBC4 and said that Mustafa's dash camera does not have audio. For 2.5 years, that's what they claimed, right?
She told the public.
All over NBC4.
She told the public.
Well, in one of the motions, one of the main investigators, Investigator Chad Mason, got on the stand and he told Judge Carol Weimer that when he got on the scene, he took the dash camera from Mustafa's windshield, back to his vehicle, took the SD cards, and plugged it into his laptop.
Yep, that's what he
downloaded the files, and then took the SD card back into the dash camera, went back and put it back on the windshield. So, and then he sat on those files for 2 days. And then 2 days later, when he got a warrant for
the dash camera,
for the dash camera. Now
that he's already tampered with.
And then he uploaded the files to evidence.com, the police department server. The problem here is what this officer did. He violated the chain of custody. What he was supposed to do is take the dash camera to digital forensic, and digital forensic officer Kathy Zymuth is supposed to mirror and copy the files to protect the integrity of those files, and she was supposed to upload it to the police department
server. And that's
server.
according to Chad Mason himself. On the stand, he said, I violated department policy, and I shouldn't have done that.
And we have the transcript. The problem here with Officer Chad Mason violating the chain of custody, sitting down on those two files, on the dash camera files for 2 days, getting a warrant 2 days later. The problem here is today we have a dash camera that has no audio, that's cut before impact, and has 17 frames missing from the camera facing inside the vehicle. Now, when you say Mustafa's cell phone has an app that automatically uploads the dash camera into his cell phone when the police department did a cell phone dump, so that means that the full dash camera is on Mustafa's cell phone. So even though Officer Chad Mason cut and muted Mustafa's dash camera,
there's a copy on the cell phone.
The full dash camera is on Mustafa's cell phone.
Which is on that hard drive.
Which is on the hard drive.
That everyone is ignoring. That Mustafa is practically begging his lawyer to bring this information.
Now, Mustafa's defense attorney, Brad Hayward, is refusing to go over the hard drive, is refusing to sit down with Mustafa and go over this hard drive. And the question is Brad Hayward protecting the police department by avoiding the hard drive?
I mean, I have my own theory as to why Brad Hayward has done 180 degree all of a sudden. I mean, look, let's examine the facts of what happened.
By the way, we don't have to speculate whether the dash camera is on Mustafa's cell phone, because the previous defense attorney...
Exactly. You have a document.
I have a transcript from inside the court. In one of the motions, Blake Weiner is telling Judge Weimer what's on this hard drive. Do me a favor, go over to Exhibit. I want to read what Blake Weiner, the previous defense attorney, is telling the presiding judge in court. In this transcript on November 20, 2024, the data extraction from multiple cell phones of the two individuals in this case who have passed, and he's talking about Dorothy, as well as, I believe, like a third family phone. So Dorothy had 3 cell phones. With Mustafa, there's 4 cell phones. There might even be a 4th phone, but it's multiple cell phone, as well as, I believe, all of the data. Oh, I'm sorry. Also, one of the cell phones for my client, and also the data extraction from the dash camera that was part of this case.
Interesting.
In total.
Can you make it bigger?
Yeah. Okay. And also the data extraction from the dash camera that was part of this case. The dash camera is on the drive. Okay. In total, off the top of my head, I believe the data extraction, it was large enough that it needed at least a 1 terabyte hard drive for the Commonwealth to put the data in. We don't have to sit here and speculate whether the dash camera is on Mustafa's cell phone. The lawyer is telling us.
He's saying it openly in court.
So the question is, why is Brad Hayward avoiding the hard drive? And is he avoiding the hard drive to protect the police department that cut and muted Mustafa's dash camera?
I mean, look, let's examine this Rexing dash camera. Okay, it's a Rexing dash camera. It's made in USA. Okay, it's not some Chinese knockoff.
Do me a favor, go take this off. Take the exhibits off.
It's not a Chinese knockoff of some random dash camera that you buy for $20. Okay, this is a $500 camera. Okay, and when I say it's made where you can extract the file, dash camera. I contacted Rexing myself. Okay, and also I went back. I got the receipt from Mustafa's purchase history from Best Buy, and I went out and purchased the same exact camera.
You have the same camera.
I have the same exact camera to see how this camera works. Okay, now the way this camera works, based on what
do you remember the model for the dash camera?
I mean, I have it somewhere, but
yeah,
let me just explain to you how this camera works. According to Rexing themselves, who I've contacted, and according to my own experience with this camera. So the camera is on continuous record. So it's constantly recording. It records in 1 minute increments. So it records for 1 minute and then it starts another minute. And that 1 minute is transferred into a file. It's like a continuous recording. Okay. Now, if you bump the camera, which like an incident would occur, an accident or someone rear ends you or something happens where there's a bump to the camera itself, the camera saves that 1 minute increment. It saves it in the normal file, and it also saves it in a folder called incidents. Okay. And by the way, I was able to verify this with Rexing as well. So the video file from the accident, there should be 2 copies of it. If you open up this dash camera, you're going to have a normal file that is on continuous recording. It's going to have all the videos from that day, from the days prior, from whenever this camera was turned on. Okay. And then you also have another separate folder dedicated to incidents, to when something bumped this camera, when there was a shock to the car, it saves that 1 minute into the incidents folder. So we know for a fact that when we went into evidence.com, okay, when we looked at the file that the government has, we only found 1 file, and it was cut. The file is cut, and there's only 1 copy of it, and there's only 8 seconds. And then the interior camera, it was like 8.33. So
to be specific,
different times.
The camera facing outside is 8.3.
Okay.
And the camera facing inside is 8.0.
Okay, so there's a discrepancy in the amount of seconds recorded.
They remove frames from the camera facing inside the vehicle.
With this camera, by the way, that has...
The police department removed frame from Mustafa's camera that's facing inside, because the camera doesn't just stops on 2 different frames, not alone cut before impact.
And it's not 2 separate cameras. This is 1 camera. So for them to say, oh, one of them turned off. No, this is 1 unit. And the unit is constantly recording through a lens that is facing forward and a lens facing inward.
Do me a favor, go over to Exhibit. I went over to Best Buy, and this is a dash camera. This is not a dash camera that you buy from Amazon, a cheap dash camera.
This is a very high quality.
I mean,
it's got a gyroscope sensor.
If you give me the model number,
I think it's called the V5.
V5.
Oh, that's it.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you go to your local Best Buy, and this is a very sophisticated dash camera. It sees the outside. It sees the inside. It has an app.
Can you flip through the photos real quick?
These photos,
like to show the inside.
Oh yeah. I got you.
I think you missed.
I think there's a video here.
You missed one of the pictures. Oh, okay. Well, play the video. Yeah,
this one.
Keep going. Yeah, keep going.
You can see this. Let's see.
Keep going there. Yeah. Keep going. One more. You have one facing.
This one. There we go. That picture right there. Like if you zoom in, you see what I'm talking about right there. Hang on, let me make it bigger. Let me see if I can make it bigger. There we go.
There you go.
Okay.
I mean,
so there's a camera facing inside, and there's a camera facing outside.
It's a camera with an attachment that has the interior camera. Okay. And
did you know that the camera facing inside is missing?
That's what I was actually going to say next. Is that when you look at this camera, the other piece is missing. According to Robert Drum, the primary investigator on this case, he said he took it out on April 19th, 2023. He checked the camera out of evidence, and that's when he contacted Rexing, which, by the way, in his full conversation with Rexing, he never questions why there's no audio.
Wait a minute. So the Commonwealth Attorney goes out on NBC4 for 2.5 years. She's been telling this community there is no audio to this dash camera. And you're saying that Robert Drum, the main investigator, contacts this company that manufactured this dash camera and never asks about the audio?
Never questions, never even mentions that this dash camera did not record audio. His primary concern is the speed. He says the speed is stuck at 77 miles per hour. And I think something about the geolocation is inaccurate. Those are the 2 things he's questioning.
Well, there is a third thing that he's asking for.
Oh, yeah.
Does this dash camera has an app? And if it does,
could it be saved on the cloud somewhere?
Could it be saved on the cloud? Can someone access the dash camera from the cloud?
Can someone access the footage from a cloud? Or is what we have in the police department all we have to worry about? Because I think at this point, Robert Drum is attempting to conceal what's on this camera.
He's terrified that the family on the outside might access the dash camera
through an iCloud.
Given that this dash camera has an app that downloads the dash camera, can the family access this through an app or through the clouds and get what we cut and muted?
That's what he wants to know. Can the family get the original footage? Because they've cut it, essentially. They've cut it. Okay? Now, I was going to mention something that is really, really interesting.
You know, I'll tell you something.
Before you go next,
yeah.
Something that's really, really interesting is, number one, he never asked Rexing why this dash cam had no audio. Never questioned it. Okay? The second thing that I find really, really interesting is the fact that I have over 800 pages of police reports about this case. A single page. As a matter of fact, there's a document from Digital Forensics of Prince William County by Kathy Zymus.
The document for you.
And what Kathy Zymus tells us is that the audio capability was turned on and that this dash cam did have audio. The videos did have an audio track.
Officer Zymus testified that she heard the audio.
Listen. When you ask about where's the audio from this dash camera, like the police are saying it doesn't have it, it didn't record, the prosecutor wants to say it didn't record. Well, I'm looking at over 800 pages, all of the police reports, unredacted, from the Mustafa Al-Jazari case, and not a single page says there is no audio. Matter of fact, when Robert Drum describes the dash camera, he says that Dorothy began screaming. Wait a second. If you're saying Dorothy is screaming, that means you heard the audio. Otherwise, how do you know she was screaming? How do you know she was screaming? In his report, when he's describing the dash camera, he says Dorothy began screaming. Okay? So the only way to know Dorothy was screaming is if you heard the audio, but you're concealing it because we know what the prosecutor wants to do. She wants to chop this up into small little mini segments of 3-second clips. She wants to bring in a bullshit lip reader, okay? And she wants to tell the jury. She already did it, by the way. She already put in that motion and it was denied. She wanted to conditionally admit the dash camera, which means she wants to select a few clips from the dash cam and she wants to tell the jury, in this 3-second clip, you're going to see Dorothy say, no, Empress is in the car. In this next clip, you're going to see Dorothy say, I want to get out of the car. But she does not want the jury to see how Mustafa came into the car, how he was cleaning Dorothy's seat before she entered the car, how he told Dorothy, he gestured to her to put on Empress's seatbelt, okay? How they were sharing a cigarette.
They're sharing a cigarette. The prosecutor is telling everybody, and they're telling this community on NBC4 that there's a heated argument inside the vehicle.
Less than 1 minute. Less than 1 minute.
Why did you seal off the portion that they're sharing a cigarette? And the way Dorothy feels Mustafa's fingers when she takes a cigarette,
they're passionate.
There is no argument inside the car.
There's passion between them. You can see the passion between them. They're sharing a cigarette a minute before the accident. And yet this prosecutor wants to say that this man was angry at his girlfriend. They were fighting and arguing. Robert Drum described it to the medical examiner as Dorothy was protesting in the car as the accident took place, which is a complete lie. They were sharing a cigarette. You didn't tell the medical examiner the truth. You lied.
Yeah,
you flat out lied. And going back to the basics here, 800 pages of police reports, and not a single page says this dash cam did not record audio. Not a single page. Matter of fact, what did Chad Mason tell? What did Chad Mason say on the stand?
Chad Mason said...
What did he say about the audio?
Chad Mason said, when I got on the scene, I took the dash camera back to my car, downloaded the file, contacted the Commonwealth attorney, and then Mustafa's defense attorney was asking him, did you know, at what point did you know that this dash camera doesn't have audio? Did you notate it anywhere in your report? He says, I found out that the dash camera doesn't have audio when I called the Commonwealth attorney.
Sarah Sammy told him
She
no audio.
told me, the prosecutor told me that it doesn't have audio. I mean, listen to what he's telling you. An officer on the scene is contacting the prosecutor who's in her office. And the prosecutor that's in her office is telling this officer that's on the scene, it doesn't have audio. We can
it sure looks
draw
like
the conclusion that the prosecutor is telling him, cut the audio.
She's setting the narrative, and the police have to work around the evidence. They have to tamper with the evidence to make the narrative match what they have.
We don't have to assume that they cut the audio. Digital forensic, when she finally got this dash camera, Kathy Zymas says, I heard the audio.
She says, I heard the audio. She says the audio capability is turned on, was turned on.
Do me a favor. Go over to Exhibit. I want to play a document that's in the case file by Officer Zymas.
And by the way, I'll just mention, the dashcam SD card has 64 gigabytes of memory. This is a camera that is constantly running 24/7. We know for a fact that when Mustafa approached the car at the apartment complex, it was already recording. So we can assume this camera was recording from the night before that, because he didn't come in and plug it in. It was already running.
Well, Robert Drum tells you that on the dash camera, he sees that Mustafa was door dashing.
Okay, he was door. So we know that this camera recorded from prior days. And when you calculate the videos uploaded to evidence.com, they don't equal 64 gigabytes. They're short, I think like 23 gigabytes they're short, okay? They've only uploaded like 500 some videos because they're 1 minute increments. And the police department only uploaded 500 videos starting from, I think, 1 p.m. Starting from 1 p.m. Well, why did you, and you look at the warrant for the dash camera, the warrant specifically states all videos, the search warrant is for all videos from this dash camera from April 5th, which is the day of the accident, and April 6th.
So they never executed the warrant correctly.
Clearly, the camera stopped recording after the accident. Why would you ask in your warrant for April 6th? Why not say all videos from the dash camera? Okay? And we know the camera was constantly recording before Mustafa and Dorothy got into the car. So we know there's more footage than what the police have put into evidence.com. So we know for a fact that, number one, they did not execute the warrant properly, because they excluded video that I was actually able to get. I was able to get video prior to what the police department is claiming was recorded.
So wait a minute. Where is Mustafa's defense attorney, Brad Hayward, from filing a motion that the police department never executed?
I mean, the definition of tampering with evidence.
Yeah.
Not executing a warrant properly. The magistrate judge signed for all videos. Yeah, you have a Chad Mason, you have a Robert Drum, a Sarah Sammy, who's basically going through this hard drive, going through this SD card, this dash camera, and saying, okay, we're going to add this, we're going to add this. We're not going to add...
They're cherry picking evidence.
We're not going to add 1214, by the way, which shows Dorothy going to her van with the children prior to what the police department have released on evidence.com. There is footage of Dorothy and the children going into her van. You can see it in the interior camera. Okay? Why did they exclude that? Why did they specifically exclude that video? I have the video, by the way. I have the video that the police excluded.
It's gonna destroy the narrative of the prosecutor.
And then once again, you go back to the basics. Where is his lawyer on this police misconduct? You have a warrant that's not being executed properly. You have a dash cam that digital forensics say it has audio, but the prosecutor is telling the police department, this doesn't have audio. It should not have audio.
Okay, so what I want to do, do me a favor, go over to Exhibit. I want to play the video, the document that show Officer Zymas put in the case file that this dash camera does have audio.
Okay, let's go into it.
All right. This is Officer Zymas with Digital Forensic.
My name is Katie Zamis. I'm a detective in digital forensics on the Prince William County Police.
So this is Kathy Zymas, Digital Forensic.
I'm a detective in digital forensics on the Prince William County Police Department.
Okay, so this document is in the case file.
And by the way, Kathy Zimas, they brought her in on April 24th, 2023. They brought her in to patch up what Chad Mason did to this dash camera. They brought in Kathy Zimas just to say to anybody that probes into this case a little further, they want to say, yeah, this dash cam we ran it through digital forensics. But what did she say specifically? By the way, this is a sealed document till this day. This is a sealed document.
But we have the transcript.
We have the transcript, and we have the document itself.
So they were comfortable because the case is sealed. So they're comfortable. But now the transcript we have the transcript. We're going to go and take a deep dive into what was said in court. Cassie Zimas specifically says, she said she heard the audio.
She said in court, she said she heard the audio.
Now, and then she testifies to, there is no way that a file could be corrupted halfway. Either it has audio or it doesn't have audio. That's what Cassie Zimas, digital forensic with the police department for over 10 years, is testifying that in a dash camera, in a file, the dash camera either has audio or it doesn't have audio. It can't just halfway just stop working. Just decide not to have audio.
You can't have audio for some videos and not the other. Either you have the audio or you don't.
Now, the officer that showed up on scene and handled the dash camera is Officer Chad Mason. He testified that this dash camera was still stuck on the windshield and it wasn't damaged. It was on the windshield.
If it's still on the windshield, it must mean that nothing damaged it. It wasn't thrown off the windshield. It didn't get bumped off the windshield. So, despite the impact and the accident,
the dash camera was still
attached to the windshield.
Still stuck to the windshield. And now, Officer Zimas says she heard the audio. And she says, I heard the audio. What did she say exactly? She heard the audio before, but not the last. But she testified there's no way that it would have audio in the beginning and not audio, like halfway doesn't have audio. But she said, I heard the audio. Now, this is a document in the case file that Officer Zimas put in Mustafa's case. She says, although the last several videos recorded on the device did not appear to have sound, the sound... So what is she saying here? Although the last several videos recorded did not appear to have sound.
Did not appear to have sound. By the way, when she says last several videos, we remind everybody that there are over 500 videos on this dash camera. Over 500. And there should be more because, once again, there's missing footage that the police did not upload into evidence.com. So they're hiding 23 gigabytes from it. But Kathy Zimas specifically says the last several videos appear not to have audio.
But the rest of the videos, she heard the audio. And she testified to that in court.
Last several.
And then she says there is no way that it would have audio in the beginning and then it would have no audio in the last several videos. There's no way.
Again, like this camera is it's not a human. It's not reacting. It's not like the camera woke up that day and said, today's April 5th. I'm just not going to record audio because there's going to be an accident. I'm going to get damaged. So I'm not going to record audio from the apartment complex. I'm not going to record audio from the gas station because later today there's going to be an accident. So I'm not going to record. It doesn't work like that. Either it was recording audio or it wasn't. And according to Zimas herself, the audio capability was turned on, although, in her own words, although the last several videos did not appear to have audio.
I remind you that when Officer Zimas got this dash camera, Officer Chad Mason, the one that said, I took it back to my vehicle.
He had already tampered with it.
He already uploaded the files to the server, which he wasn't supposed to do. It was supposed to be Officer Zimas. That was, so let me just.
let's be very clear and blunt about it.
Take a look
Is
at
Kathy Zimas going to come in and say, guys, I extracted the files and I found Chad Mason to be a liar. I found Sarah Sammy, who's been saying for the past couple of days, because this is April 24th, 2023. So it's been at least over 10 days after the prosecutor has already put out the narrative in court. Do we really think Kathy Zimas is going to go around Chad Mason? She's going to go around Robert Drum. She's going to go around the entire prosecutor's office, the Commonwealth attorney, and say, you guys effed up. You guys screwed up because I have the audio right here. She's not going to do that. She's going to come in and say, how can I patch this up for my buddy who works right across the hall? How am I going to cover this up for Chad Mason? I'm not going to make my fellow officer look like a liar. I'm not going to destroy the prosecutor's whole entire case because I'm honest. She's not going to do that. She's going to come in and she's going to use her expertise. She's going to twist and turn these words to make it to where she's not telling the truth, but also she's not lying. I mean, what does that even mean? Although the last several videos did not appear to have audio.
Which last several videos?
What the hell are you talking about? Did you have audio or did you not have audio? Was there audio on this dash cam or was there not? To say, although the last several videos did not. Well, if the last several videos did not have audio, where's the rest of it? Where's the rest of the audio? Where's the rest of the video? Because today, 2.5 years later, you got a man sitting in solitary confinement based on a falsified report.
Without a trial.
And Kathy Zimas never thought to herself, oh, these videos don't have audio, but let me get the ones that do, and let me refresh evidence.com. Let me re-upload what I've done based on my expertise, not Chad Mason, who did it in the car on his personal laptop. Let me do it properly. Go against their own. We know they're not going to go against their own.
I'll tell you something that's really interesting. When I got onto the server for the police department, evidence.com, none of the videos have audio.
None of them had audio.
So it's fair to say that Chad Mason muted the audio and uploaded to the server.
100% he muted
cut
the audio.
The dash camera, muted the audio, because here digital forensics says, I have the audio. I heard the audio. Now, the sound, I'm going to continue reading this document. The sound record feature on the device was turned on. I opened the file with VLC and the sound did not play. I then opened the last recorded file on the device with a program called Madeline, which showed that the file did have an audio track. Then I opened the file with Audacity, which is a free audio editing program. The track that should have contained sound wave appeared flat. Now, I found it really interesting that here she says that the audio is flat. Her testimony on the stand is completely different.
Amar, it's like saying...
On the stand, she says, I heard the audio.
She says she heard the audio. But let's put it like this. Let's dumb it down a little bit. This is a Rexing USA dash camera. They're based out of New Jersey, okay? They have their own dedicated app that you can download the files, and they have their own dedicated player. It's called a Rexing player. If you go on your iPhone, you have an Android phone, you can download the Rexing app, and you have a Rexing video player.
So why is she opening in VLC? Why is she opening in Audacity?
Audacity? Why?
I mean, this is a digital forensic that's been with the department for over 10 years. She has all the experience in the world to know
forensics.
that this dash camera has a dedicated app to open it for it to play. Why is she opening it in random apps?
Because think about it like this: this investigator, Kathy Zimas, she's coming in to do a patch-up job for the lies. Okay, let me just fix that real quick. Let me fix this. Look, she wants to cover up for a drum, and she wants to ensure that the prosecutor did not lie in court. Okay, so what is she going to do? I'm going to open it with this program that I know is not going to play audio, so that I can say I opened the file and there was no audio. Okay, it's like me saying, I'm going to play your podcast. I want to say your podcast has no audio. Okay, so I'm going to open it on the computer, and I'm going to make sure that my speaker is turned off. Okay, but when I play it, I'm going to say, I played the podcast and there was no audio. I'm not going to tell you that I didn't have the speaker on, but I'm just going to say your podcast has no audio. And that's exactly what she did. I mean, did she lie? No, not really, because she's opening it in VLC Madeline and Audacity.
So
Like,
let me ask this.
why not open it with Rexing?
As a police department, as a prosecutor office, you have an officer that says, I violated the chain of custody, sat on the files for 2 days, uploaded the files to the server, and now you have a dash camera that doesn't have audio, that's cut before impact, 17 frames are missing, and then your digital forensic, when she finally gets this dash camera, says it does have audio. Wouldn't it make sense as a county, as a prosecutor office, to and finding out what is going on? Metadata of the SD card.
They're not interested.
Instead, for 2.5 years, Prosecutor Sarah Sammy is telling Judge Carol Weimer, Your Honor, we're hiring a lip reader.
And she wants to conditionally admit the dash camera. So
Conditionally, wait a minute. Conditionally, what she's avoiding and she's terrified from is the fact that Mustafa and Dorothy are sharing a cigarette.
And that's why she wants to conditionally admit. She wants to exclude portions that show it's just a regular man and a woman in a car and they're sharing a cigarette. Okay? You can't be arguing if you're sharing a cigarette. Nobody argues.
Did you know that a month ago, in a motion, Prosecutor Sarah Sammy got up in court and Judge Weimer asked her, is your lip reader willing to testify on Tuesday? Prosecutor Sarah Sammy
talking
says,
about Bruce Safinsky.
Bruce Safinsky. She said, Prosecutor Sarah Sammy said, Your Honor, my lip reader is not available on Tuesday. Judge Weimer says, okay, is your lip reader available on Thursday? She says, Your Honor, the lip reader is not available on Thursday. Judge Weimer says, wait a minute. You're telling me what kind of professional lip reader is not available in the beginning of the week and at the end of the week? She says, Your Honor, the lip reader that we were given, were given this lip reader through some channels, and we are having a hard time tracking our lip reader.
That's very interesting.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
You took that man's freedom. You took Mustafa's freedom, okay, in his bond motion because you introduced Bruce Safinsky. Let me rephrase that.
Wait a minute.
Let me rephrase that.
Actually, in a bond hearing, Mustafa was denied bond because one of the things that Prosecutor Sarah Sammy told Judge Weimer, Your Honor, I'm going to proffer that I have a lip reader, and my lip reader is going to say that Dorsey says Empress, 5-year-old Empress, is in the car. Mm-hmm. That's what she said. Literally, if you read the transcript, that's what she said. Now, at the time she proffered, 2 months later.
Well, when you open the sealed documents.
When I finally got my hand on the file, that's sealed.
What do we
find out that 2 months, literally 2 months after Mustafa was denied. After she made that statement.
That's when she got.
There's a document that shows there is a lip reader that entered the case 2 months later.
2 months later.
And is lip reading what the prosecutor claimed that the lip reader is going to say in a bond motion. So wait a minute. You, the prosecutor, is not a lip reader.
So you didn't have a lip reader at the time when you were lying to the judge. You did not have a lip reader because according to the document, that lip reader did not put in his affidavit or any information until 2 months that claim. Exactly. What does it look like?
Exactly.
It looks like
well, right now it looks
or
like
a person that says they're a lip reader. Who knows if he's really a lip reader?
And the problem here is
they can't
the lip reader. They can't find them.
They can't find him anywhere.
And I mean, there are two scenarios. Either there is a lip reader, okay, that they promised,
they fake somebody.
That they promised. Going to show anybody that Mustafa and Dorsey is sharing a cigarette, and there is no argument inside the vehicle. We're going to chop up this dash camera, take it out of context, and we're going to bring you in, put you on a stand in front of the jury, and we're going to have you testify to a chopped up
to a 3-second clip.
I mean,
they're literally telling the lip reader, nobody has seen this dash camera. Nobody has this dash camera. Nobody will get this dash camera. The jury won't see this dash camera. I'm only going to present 3 seconds, and I want you to say that Dorothy is saying, I want to get out of the car. That Dorothy is saying in this clip, no Empress is in the car. They promised this lip reader the moon and back. Okay? And all of a sudden,
I mean, if I'm in access,
stole the dash camera.
the police department, you wouldn't have access to the dash
Nobody
camera.
would have access to it.
Would have access to the
Nobody would
dash
have
camera.
access to it.
I mean, I remember a year and a half into Mustafa being arrested. Mustafa is thrown into solitary confinement. A year and a half later, on NBC4 aired out a portion of a dash camera, of Mustafa's dash camera. Now, when you look at what NBC4 aired out, you find out that they're airing out an edited version of Mustafa's dash camera. An edited version of Mustafa's dash camera. They took portions, fast forward, rewind from different times, and they're telling everybody, I mean, you can't verify that this is an edited version. You don't have the original dash camera to verify this. They're taking the dash camera out of context.
So they took
and they never said that Mustafa and Dorothy are sharing a cigarette.
So they took a clip, for example, they took a clip from 620 from the exterior camera, and they took a clip from 625 from the interior camera, and they're playing it side by side as if it was the same time.
I'm going to play
That's dishonest.
I'm going to make this. I mean,
not only is it dishonest, at some point it turns criminal. It turns criminal because you're taking a man's freedom based on that information. And the media with Julie Carey, NBC, which is the fake news. I mean, it's literally the fake news because she took a narrative and she ran with it and she put it out to the public that, number one, there's no audio to this dash camera. That's what they told the public, that there's no audio, and that Mustafa and Dorothy were arguing. Based on what information exactly? You claim there's no audio. Mustafa never said he was arguing. Where did you get this information that they were arguing and that there's no audio? Where did you get, if you have no audio, where did you get this by the prosecutor, and the media did a cover-up job for the prosecutors only to bolster their falsified
I remember
reports.
At one point I went to the police department and I filed with internal affairs a complaint that I have an audio to the conversation between Mustafa and the investigator, and this investigator falsified Mustafa's statement on the police report. And specifically what this investigator did, he said, you, Mustafa, told me, the investigator, that you were arguing inside the vehicle. Well, the audio showed that Mustafa never said that. I'm going to play NBC4 when this finally hit NBC4. I'm going to play what Julie Carey said.
Okay.
For tonight, there are new questions being raised in the case of a man charged with murder for a crash.
Now, at that time, Mustafa was charged with DUI manslaughter. Mustafa was arrested and charged with a DUI manslaughter. Now, what's really interesting here is the toxicology report show, before we go into this clip, the toxicology report show Mustafa's blood alcohol level. There is no alcohol and no drugs.
What date was that reporting, by the way?
This was, I believe this was in November.
November of what?
2023.
November 2023?
November of 2023.
Okay, and the document you just showed with Kathy Zymus.
That was April 24, 2023.
April 24th,
2023.
2023. So, just really quick.
The problem here, the toxicology report show no alcohol, no drugs. How do you charge Mustafa and arrest him for DUI manslaughter? And they've held him from April 7 all the way to November.
All the way till today. He's still held. He was never released.
He's still sitting in solitary confinement. But originally, they charged him with a DUI. Manslaughter. How do you charge someone with a DUI and then when his toxicology showed no alcohol, no drugs? Now, the minute we took internal affairs stock probing into what the police department is doing, what the officer is doing, the Commonwealth Attorney, Amy Asher, within 5 days, drops the DUI manslaughter and she upgrades it to murder.
I mean, that's crazy.
I mean, here, when they're reporting on Mustafa's case, they're saying Mustafa is charged with murder. 5 days before this,
he was DUI manslaughter.
NBC4 aired it out. Mustafa was on a DUI manslaughter.
Retaliation. They retaliated after you went to internal affairs. They retaliated.
Do me a favor. Go over to Exhibit really quick. I want to go over this document here. This is Mustafa's toxicology report. it shows blood alcohol non-detected. There's no alcohol in Mustafa's blood. Here, THC 0.0003, which is the foundation of the case. There is 0.0003.
And
do you know what that means?
If you look it up, it's not even detectable through a urine test or a standard drug test. It's not detectable.
Do you know what that means? This is the foundation of the case. When you look at the dash camera, when you find out what they're hiding in this dash camera, Mustafa's girlfriend, Dorothy, has cancer. Because of the pain, she smokes hemp. There's a difference between hemp and weed. Hemp doesn't have THC. It has 0.0003. That's hemp. Weed has THC. That's what gets you high. Now, you're saying that you're arguing inside the vehicle, but on dash camera, what they're hiding is Mustafa and Dorothy are passing back and forth a hemp cigarette.
Yeah.
6 times they passed the cigarette, and at one point, Dorothy feels Mustafa's fingers when she grabs that cigarette.
And the media never reported that they're sharing a cigarette.
They edited the dash camera, aired it out on NBC4, put it out for 4 seconds of this dash camera, and never said they're sharing a cigarette.
Not only did they not say that, I was going to mention that Kathy Zimas by now has already said the audio capability is turned on.
They never said there's audio.
So why did the prosecutors, why did this media not air out that this man that you're accusing had his audio capability turned on, but Chad Mason effed it up? Chad Mason, who admitted on the stand that he tampered with the dash camera. He's the one that plugged it into his laptop, violating department policy. You didn't tell the media that.
Instead, Julie Carey says
you're
on NBC4,
you're being dishonest about the facts of this case. Okay? They're excluding crucial information to try to make Mustafa look guilty. I mean, had you told the public, hey, this dash cam, fortunately, doesn't have audio, but digital forensics was turned on. This should have captured audio. Okay? What do you think that would, I mean, the public is going to think about it. They're going to say, well, if he had the audio capability, I don't think he wants to commit a crime putting a giant dash camera right in front of him in 4K recording video and audio. Nobody would do that. No, a dash cam recording in 4K quality with audio turned on. But the media and Amy Ashworth specifically concealed that from the public. And now we're going to dive into these transcripts, and we're going to find out who's really behind not telling the public the truthful information about this case. Because this Brady motion, this motion that we're going to go through, the judge grants funds, taxpayer funds, to Mustafa so that he can bring in experts to examine his dash camera and retrieve the audio that Chad Mason deleted. Okay? And the judge gave the funds. The lawyer, Brad Hayward, is about to go in with to the evidence locker. And what does the judge say? He says, we have to make sure that when the experts come in and they extract the video with audio, we have to make sure we put a protective order so that the public and specifically the family does not get a hold of that information. By the way, he's not saying that when the audio comes out, I don't want anybody to get it. No, he's saying that when the experts go in and they do find audio, we don't want to tell anybody that audio exists. So when you look at that, you can tell that Judge Weimer, he's protecting a lying police department. He's protecting a lying prosecutor because they've already said on MSNBC, they've already said that there's no audio. So the judge is trying to ensure that the credibility of the police and the prosecutor is protected. Because what does it look like when Brad Hayward goes in with his experts and they retrieve the dash camera that the prosecutor has been saying for 2.5 years has no audio, and these experts all of a sudden come out with a video and audio? You're going to tell us that Kathy Zimas lied. that Robert Drum lied. Chad Mason lied. The prosecutor lied. And the judge here, Judge Weimer, sadly, he's protecting a corrupt police department.
I find it so disturbing that the prosecutor didn't say, I want to put a protective order.
That's the funny part.
The defense attorney didn't say, I want to put
the judge says it.
Judge Weimer, the presiding judge, says, let's protect the finding, what the independent expert is going to find on this dash camera
from the family.
What are you going to find?
Basically from the public.
Evidence show, evidence show that the dash camera, they've lied about this dash camera for 2.5 years. Your digital forensics says it does have audio. And now this information is coming out that Mustafa's defense attorney is asking, and he's granted funds for an independent expert to go in and inspect and download and extract the full dash camera with the audio off the SD card that the police department has. What does Judge Weimer say? I want to protect the finding from the family. Do me a favor.
Now, by the way, now when he says the family, he's also referring to the defendant himself, Mustafa, who's entitled to this exculpatory information.
That's illegal.
It's illegal. It's illegal. You've already said on the media that this dash camera, according to Amy Ashworth, has no audio. According to the police department, they say there's no audio. You've already, by the way, the issue with the audio being there or not, you've made it public. You've already told this community, hey, there's no audio. Now the community they're footing the bill for experts to go in and examine this dash camera and retrieve the audio. And the judge says, you're not entitled to the results. The community is not entitled to the results. I mean, at the bare minimum, Mustafa should at least know where the audio is and what it shows.
And this is a question for Mustafa's defense attorney, Brad Hayward. Where is the extraction from Mustafa's dash camera? The judge ordered, and the government gave money for an independent expert to go in and extract the SD card.
You just answered it, though.
You
just answered it. The judge says nobody is to know if there is audio or not. When the audio does come out, he says it. When the audio comes out, we have to ensure that nobody knows about it.
Judge Weimer says,
what the hell is the point of even going in to even get it if you're the person who's entitled to it? Okay, he's entitled to it under due process. It's exculpatory information. And you, Amy Ashworth and the police department, you've made it front and center by talking about it to the public.
A bigger problem is that Mustafa's defense attorney today took that money, is no longer going with his independent expert. He took the money that's allocated for Mustafa's independent expert. He took the money and he said, Your Honor, he's telling the judge, I want to give this money
to the prosecutor.
To the prosecutor, independent expert.
That is
wait a minute.
Crazy.
You're going to give it to the prosecutor that's been lying and hiding Mustafa's dash camera. You're going to give her to her independent expert that's already biased?
And the corrupt judge.
Interest.
The corrupt judge, Judge Weimer, says, isn't that a conflict of interest? You're giving funds that were granted to you and the defense. You're giving them to the prosecutor? Really? That's what you want to do?
I mean...
And Brad Hayward says, yeah, that's what I want to do. I'm going to give it to...
Wait a minute. Brad Hayward...
I'm going to give it to Sarah Sammy, and we're going to tell her expert not to talk about it with her.
So he's no longer going with Investa, the company that he was going to go with. Brad Hayward, independent expert, put in an affidavit. This is I'm going to show you a document. This is a document. Do me a favor, go over to exhibits.
That's by Investa?
That's by Investa.
So Investa was ready to go in.
A company that was supposed to go in for the defense, Brad Hayward.
And by the way, we're not talking about landing on the moon and getting a piece of the moon and coming back. We're talking about a dash camera.
You see right there, Investa, item 4, Investa Forensic Hero. This is a company that Brad Hayward was going to go with. And his name is
talking about a dash camera.
Felipe Cruz Jr. That's the independent expert for Brad Hayward.
For Brad Hayward.
Now, this document, this affidavit entered the court on the 12th of September.
Wow.
Okay.
September 12th.
Now, September 16 is when Judge Weimer gave the order to go in and extract the SD card. the full dash camera with the audio. Now, explain to me, how does it make sense that Brad Hayward this is a document, on, what day is this? November 6th. All of a sudden, Brad Hayward is putting a joint motion to
pay the prosecutor,
take the money and give it to Doug
next.
Lacey. Doug Lacey is the independent expert for the prosecutor. Now, what happened between September 12th and November
16th.
6th?
November 6th.
What happened?
I tell you what happened.
I'll show you what happened. This is a document. This is a document where a private meeting is held, an ex parte motion. By the way, it is illegal for a private motion to be held by a judge
With either party.
With either party.
With either
You're supposed
party.
to have the lawyer and the prosecutor and Mustafa.
And Mustafa.
You can't just have a prosecutor by herself hold a motion without the lawyer and Mustafa.
Well, Judge Weimer did it, and here's the record of it. Here's the evidence.
On October 22nd.
October 24th. There's this ex parte judge who just said the other day, he said, we cannot let the finding of audio from this dash camera, let it go out to the public. We can't let it. He has an ex parte hearing, an ex parte motion, okay? And all of a sudden, now Brad Hayward is giving Mustafa's funds to the prosecutor. And he says, what? He says, I have no faith. What are you saying, court? He said,
I have no faith in
Investa. Why not? Why don't you have any faith in Investa? Are you saying Investa is a bad company? They're not talented enough? They're not trained enough? They don't have the capability of getting a SD card from a dash camera? Is that what he's saying? He's saying that.
So if you don't have faith in your independent expert, in this independent,
Get another one.
Get another one. Get another. Not go with the prosecutor independent expert who's already biased. I mean, do me a favor. I want to go over the transcript from September 16 on page 150, where Judge Weimer says,
what day is this?
This is September 16. This is during a Brady motion. This is page 150, where Judge Weimer says, and there would need to be a protective order limiting the disclosure of this to anyone outside of the process, including the family. Now, why is a judge asking to block the full dash camera and the audio from specifically the family? I mean, I can understand if the prosecutor was saying it. I can understand if the lawyer was saying it. But the presiding judge blocking this information, that doesn't make any sense.
What line is that? Let me see.
This is line 4.
Okay, so he says
Between line 4 and line 6.
and there would need to be a protective order limiting the disclosure of this to anyone outside of the process, including the family. Gee, I wonder why the family. I wonder why the family should not get this information. Maybe because, I mean, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cameras here reporting to the public on what the hell's going on in this case. Maybe that's why.
So, I mean, I don't understand this.
He doesn't want the family to get a hold of this information?
Shouldn't it be the other way around? Shouldn't it be Mustafa? I mean, you have Mustafa charged with murder in solitary confinement for 2.5 years, and you've been refusing to take him to trial. Put his evidence on the record and take him to trial. Shouldn't the person that you're accusing of murder, terrified that this information is going to come out, instead that this information is going to come out, that the audio is going to come out, the full dash camera is going to come out?
I mean, that's a very, very good point. Shouldn't Mustafa be terrified and telling his lawyer, like, hey, I don't want this audio to come out. It's going to show I'm guilty. Mustafa is literally saying, like, we're sitting here saying, where is the audio to this dash camera? Where is it? Where is it? Okay? We would like to help the prosecutor prosecute Mustafa. Bring out the audio. And another thing is, where is Julie Carey?
Where is Julie Carey?
Julie Carey told the public, she told the public, on what day was this? November 2023. I don't know what date specifically. But in November of 2023, Julie Carey went on camera and told the community Mustafa's dash cam had no audio. Okay? And here we're talking about a motion, a public motion, by the way, open to the general public, open to the media, okay, where the judge is saying,
block it from the family.
block the audio and the findings from everybody, including the family. Why isn't Julie Carey reporting on Kathy Zimus's finding that the audio capability was turned on? Oh, wait, Julie Carey works for the prosecutor, and she wants to protect lying government officials. She wants to protect them because Sarah Sammy, she's dug herself pretty deep on this audio issue. Amy Ashworth has dug herself deep on this murder issue. Okay, the police department, they've pretty much cemented themselves backing up a lying officer like Robert and a lying officer like Chad. They're not changing course. Okay, they've dedicated their police department to protecting corrupt cops. And the whole issue with the Brady motion, one of the issues that was raised was, what were the reprimands of Robert Drum and Chad Mason? Because we know for a fact, according to court documents, that Robert Drum and Chad Mason, as far as we know, those are the two. But there could be more, that they were reprimanded in Mustafa's case because they violated department policy. They did things that they should not have done.
They're not certified to handle this case.
They're not certified to handle some of the specific evidence.
What did Sean Shelton with Internal Affairs tell us on a recorded line?
He said Robert Drum is not certified. Certification to cover this case. Chad Mason, we find out that Sarah Sammy is using him as an expert witness on data recorders, and she put him on the stand as an expert witness on EDR, electronic data recorder, from Mustafa's vehicle. And we find out that he has no certification. He's not certified to testify on electronic data recorders, and the prosecutor put him on the stand, and they took away Mustafa's bond based on a lie, based on an officer who has no certification.
And the question here is, Brad Hayward put in a Brady motion, and Judge Weimer granted him. And one of the things that Judge Weimer granted him is access into
the reprimand files.
The reprimand file. Did you know that Brad Hayward, even though he was granted access in an order, and we're going to go over this order, Brad Hayward says, I'm not going to pursue looking into those investigations.
But I'll tell you, before he said that, something happened before he said that. What took place prior to Brad Hayward saying, I'm not interested
in the private meeting, the ex parte motion on October 22nd.
Hold on a second. Ex parte motion, and they told him, if you want to look at the reprimand files, they're not allowed to leave the prosecutor's office. So that means you have to come into the prosecutor's office to review the reprimand files of Robert Drum, Chad Mason, and whatever officer was involved in this case so far. Brad Hayward goes into this meeting, and I'll set the scene for you, okay? Brad Hayward comes in, okay? You have the chief of police, Peter Newsham. You have the chief of police of Manassas Park Police. You have Commonwealth Attorney Amy Ashworth. And you have medical examiner Jean Xavier Maya. And you also have the prosecutor's team, Sarah Sammy, Stephanie Buck, all these prosecutors that are involved in this case. And you also have all the officers that are involved in this case. Chad Mason, Rob Davis, Rob Sermon, the other officers, Casey Fines, whoever. They have all these officers, all these individuals are in the office, okay? And you got Brad Hayward coming in, and he's looking at reprimand files. Robert Drum, Chad Mason, okay? And they're all looking at him in the face, and they're telling him, are you telling us that you're going to bring this whole team down for a Mustafa? Okay? You're going to take these documents and you're going to show that Robert Drum lied. You're going to show that they falsified affidavits. They swore an oath to lies. They got warrants based on falsified information. They've manipulated witnesses. They falsified witness information. They brought in individuals that were never part of the case, never knew Mustafa.
We have evidence
manufactured
that the police
identities.
weaponized the children, a 9, a 10,
They've
a 14.
abused children. They've hid Google Nets footage. They've hid Mustafa's phone, Dorothy's phone data dump. They've that Glenn Ford committed only to bring him in to testify. And you have Brad Hayward, who comes into this office with all these individuals standing there, okay? And they're telling him, you think you're going to bring this county down for a Mustafa? You must be dreaming, okay? If you F around, okay? If you fuck around, we're going to do what we did to Tatiana David to you. And there's nothing you can do about it, okay? You think somebody's going to investigate what happens to you? We've got a medical examiner, Jean Maya, who's willing to sign off on anything. We've got an accident reconstructionist like Robert Drum who can say whatever he wants to say and nobody's going to question him. We've got a Julie Carey who can easily say, Brad Hayward went missing. Poor guy. Who knows?
I mean, we don't have to speculate that Mustafa's previous defense attorney on video says that she will threaten by the police. I want to play that video for you.
I mean, it's not far-fetched. It's not...
And that's a good question. Is Brad Hayward being threatened by the county to back off and now not pursue what he was granted by Judge Weimer, which is missing body cams, documents, evidence that show the police department falsified a whole entire case.
Amar,
he's literally putting an order and he's not pursuing anything what he was granted in a Brady motion.
Look, I mean, at the end of the day...
He literally took the funds, gave it to the prosecutor to hire her independent experts.
You have one man like Brad Hayward who's coming in, and the moment he uncovers this corruption... By the way, the moment you uncover this corruption, that means... How many times did Robert Drum falsify information and put someone in prison? How many times did Chad Mason tamper with digital evidence? How many times did Kathy Zimas cover up for Chad Mason? How many times did prosecutor Sarah Sammy prosecute and convict people based on this falsified information? And the police chief looked the other way. The prosecutors pretended like they don't know what's going on. They're just following information that's coming out of the police department. How many times has this happened? And the moment you open this bee's nest on this police department, I mean, it's going to be open season from the federal government coming in and reviewing every case where Chad Mason, Rob Davis, Robert Drum, Casey Fines, Sermon, all these people that have ever testified in a case and put someone behind bars based on falsified information. The federal government is going to come in, okay? They're going to come in and they're going to open up files that were fake, tampered with, fake witnesses. We've seen it. Amy Hodson, okay? Amy Hodson, they brought in a female that says she's Amy Hodson and she's saying all these negative things about Mustafa while Robert Drum's wife is on the line. By the way, where is Robert Drum's body cam footage from the conversation with Mustafa? We know Robert Drum was on the line with other individuals. How could a police investigator with 20 plus years, how could a investigator investigating a homicide have random individuals on three-way call while he's investigating a homicide? How could you have other individuals that are not related to the police department? They don't work for the police. You're bringing people that are manufacturing false identities into a phone call so that they can learn the narrative and they can come in and testify whenever you want them. How many times have you done that, Robert Drum? And how many times the chief of police, Newsham, and other individuals in the police department, like, what's his name? Brandon Doodley, Sean Shelton, okay? Lieutenant Gary Spina. How many times have you looked at your officers falsifying and manufacturing evidence, tampering with witnesses, deleting evidence, not executing warrants properly? How many times have you seen that done and watched people go to prison for it?
Well,
and you haven't done anything about it.
We don't have to speculate. We have the body cam of Tatiana David, who on body cam is being murdered by the police department. And what did they say on the news? We found her outside the vehicle.
That's what they
You
told
have
me.
the body cam. So we don't have to sit here and speculate. Are they doing this in other cases? You're sitting on a body cam of Tatiana David. Now, the question I go back to, has Mustafa's defense attorney, Brad Hayward, been threatened by the police department?
No doubt about it.
Now, we don't have to speculate. All we have to do is look at Elaine Jarvis, Mustafa's previous defense attorney,
lawyer.
a paid lawyer. And what does she say on a video recording?
What
She
is she
said,
saying?
I am terrified from the police. Let's watch the video.
Well, in a hearing that took place in Warren County, she actually says Virginia State Police entered her office and took her hard drives. One of the hard drives, by the way, was Mustafa's hard drive.
The
Virginia State Police.
The same hard drive that Brad Hayward... The material,
The
which
hard
is the
drive-
dash camera that has the full dash
the
camera.
hard drive with the data dump.
The hard drive with the data dump. The dash, it has the original dash camera.
footage.
Has Google Nest videos. It has Alexa.
It's got Mustafa's communication with Dorothy. I mean, it's got everything you need to show that Robert Drum, Chad Mason, and these police officers falsified the entire case. Everything you need to say this prosecutor is flat out lying. She's lying. And she's held a man in solitary confinement for 2.5 years. She subjected him to a beating, to a sexual assault, to other negative things that happened to him at the jail because of these accusations, by the way. When you say someone took the life of a child, took the life of a mother, okay, bad things will happen, okay? And people are finding out that this was manufactured lies by the police department. People are finding out that the prosecutor has not been so honest with the public. She hasn't been so honest.
I want to play a video from Elaine Jarvis, Mustafa's previous defense attorney, who says that she was threatened by the police department. Do me a favor, go over to exhibits.
He's releasing all this crap on the internet about his brother's case. All kinds of videos that he has no right to be releasing. He's also releasing basically gore porn of Tatiana David.
She's talking about me releasing the file of Mustafa and the file of Tatiana David, who on body cam showed that she was murdered by the police. Let's hear what Elaine Jarvis is telling us.
Who got killed by the Virginia State Police.
I'm going to rewind it.
He's also releasing basically gore porn of Tatiana David, who got killed by the Virginia State Police. And he's released all of that. None of that should be released. Tatiana David should not be on with her breast bare. That is not
and
right.
that motherfucker who they're charging should not be the one being fully charged either.
It's the state
and that they
police.
put for another year.
And I've told the Virginia State Police that I'm afraid they're going to kill me because I've spoken out about it. And I'm still afraid they're going to kill me. Now I'm afraid they're going to railroad me and set me up for something that I have not done.
You're afraid of who?
The Virginia State Police.
Okay.
I'm afraid of the police.
Got you.
I'm afraid of the police. Now, and she said they're going to set me up. They're going to railroad me. And back to what I was said earlier, when Brad Hayward went in to see these reprimand files, you don't think the chief of police is sitting there with all his officers, with a medical examiner, with an accident reconstructionist, and he's telling Brad, if you step out of line, you're going to disappear. Okay? And we have the medical examiner to do it. We have an accident reconstructionist to do it. We have the media to say what we want to say. You can disappear in a heartbeat. And if you think you're going to stand up for a Mustafa and bring this county down, keep dreaming. And what did Brad Hayward say? I mean, Brad Hayward literally came out and said, F this, my client is innocent. I can't defend him. I'm withdrawing. I don't want to be on this case anymore.
Do me a favor, go over to exhibit. I want to pull a document where
I can't be on this case anymore.
Brad Hayward literally put in a motion to withdraw, and he says, Mustafa Al-Jazari has been unjustly accused of murder, which was the product of a deeply biased and flawed investigation and merit of Al-Jazari's constitutional rights. Innocence. Item 2, regrettably, there has been a complete and irreparable breakdown in communication between counsel and Mr. Al-Jazari, which prevent counsel from providing effective, zealous representation.
It's BS, basically.
He stands in court. I mean, Brad Hayward tells Judge Weimer when they're litigating this motion, he says, Your Honor, I cannot simply do what Mustafa is asking me to do. What is Mustafa asking you to do?
Give me my car reconstruction.
The most basic thing you can do in this case.
Reconstruction of the car accident. The audio from my dash camera. And I want to see the hard drive.
The hard drive.
1, 2, 3. And Mustafa is asking me to do. Clearly, because you've been threatened by the police.
It's obvious that this defense attorney is being threatened by the police department.
There's no doubt about it. You heard Elaine Jarvis. Look, if they threatened Elaine Jarvis...
Do me a favor, take it off exhibit.
If they threatened Elaine Jarvis...
A lawyer that's been practicing for over, what, 20?
For over 20 years. Okay?
20 years.
If they can threaten Elaine Jarvis, go into her office, intimidate her, scare her to hell, okay? Take away her property. You don't think Brad Hayward is taking notice? You don't think the same conversation that state police had with Elaine Jarvis, you don't think it's happening to Brad? What makes him so special?
Well, here's what I find really interesting about Brad Hayward. When I entered the police department server, evidence.com, and I took Mustafa's file, Tatiana David's file is mixed up with Mustafa's file. I mean, how do you think I got the body cams? The Tatiana David body cams are in Mustafa's file. The county accidentally somehow put the body cams in Mustafa's file. So when I took the file from the server, I have the Tatiana. Now, Blake Weiner
had the same copy.
Had the Tatiana David body cams.
Elaine Jarvis had
it. Jarvis. I mean, she's here talking about.
Casey Stevens had it.
Casey Stevens had it. Brad Hayward today sits on those body cams. Wait a minute. I mean, let's really take a hard look at Brad Hayward. Brad Hayward's pride himself. He's all over the internet. He says, I have a civil rights organization and I fight for this community. Wait a minute.
That's his claim.
That's what Brad Hayward says. You look up Brad Hayward. He has a civil rights organization called Justice Forward. And what he says, I fight for this community. Well, you're sitting on body cams of Tatiana David, who was murdered by the police, that the Commonwealth's attorney sealed off, and instead, a Commonwealth attorney, Amy Ashworth, and instead of holding those officers accountable, she seals off the body cams.
Seals off the body cams.
So that no one can see what the county did. You have two agencies, Prince William County Police Department and Virginia State Police, are seen on body cam murdering Tatiana David. Wait a minute. To the news, they said that they found her outside the car. I'm looking at a body cam that the police shot up the vehicle, who they say, and they dragged her dead body outside the vehicle, put her outside the vehicle, only say we found her outside the car.
They called Julie Carey to cover it up.
So Brad Hayward sits on that body cam. I mean, I'm expected that Brad Hayward is not being threatened by the police. I mean, how could he fight for Mustafa if he's completely silent on the Tatiana David body cam? The murder of Tatiana David.
Amar, it's evident. It's evident. He went into the prosecutor's office to look at the reprimand files. Okay? There was an ex parte motion that took place. He was threatened. And he literally comes out of this office and he says, the hell with it. My life is not worth a Mustafa Al-Jazari. My life is not worth bringing down this whole police department. By the way, if you truly pursue the Mustafa Al-Jazari defense, if you really defend Mustafa Al-Jazari, you're going to open this bee's nest on this police department. Because, I mean, they've not only abused children, they've not only tampered with witnesses on body cam, they've not only deleted his dash camera, they've not only crushed his car, they've not only falsified warrants and falsified affidavits, falsified witness testimony. You have like every single negative point you can ever have on a police department, it exists in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. Every bad thing that police could ever do, they've done it in this case. Every bad thing that a police officer could ever do.
And Brad Hayward is granted to go after the police department and gain access into evidence that show body cams and document and evidence that show.
And he says,
I don't want it. I mean, you don't have to take my word for it.
Look at the.
I'm gonna go
at the
over.
order.
Let's look at the order.
Just look. Yeah, look at the order. Let's look at the order. I mean, he came in hard. He came in swinging, basically in court. Okay, and then he comes out of it. He says, I'm satisfied with the prosecutor's answer. I'm satisfied here. I'm satisfied here. I mean, there was like, 18 Brady points he made? 18 Brady complaints he had.
One of the Brady
All of a sudden, he's like, I don't want the body cam from this. I no longer am seeking communication between police and the prosecutor. I no longer want the body cams that are missing. I don't want to, processing of the scene. I don't want the processing of the scene anymore.
That's the body cams that's going to show that the police department weaponized a 9, a 10, a 14, and 16 against Mustafa. Look, body cams that's going to show the police department weaponized children, abused children.
Specifically, in that Brady motion, he said, Your Honor, there's evidence. He says, Your Honor, there's evidence that the police weaponized these children, these minors. They weaponized them, and the body cam is missing from that communication. That's point one. Number two, the police had communication outside of the CAC, the Child Advocacy Center. They had communication outside of this psychologist that was supposed to deal with the children. And Sarah Sam says, I don't know anything about it. Well, we have a document. We have a document where you met with a minor along with a police officer. You met with a minor without the child advocacy person, without the psychologist that specifically is trained to deal with children. You, Prosecutor Sarah Sammy, you and an officer met with this minor behind closed doors. But what was said to this minor that you're alleging is a witness in this case? What was said to her? Brad Hayward all of a sudden says, I'm not interested. I don't want it anymore. I don't want anything. I don't want anything from this case anymore. Matter of fact, I'm just going to withdraw. I'm out of here.
Prosecutor Sarah Sammy lied to Judge Weimer.
That is just crazy. It's
Prosecutor Sarah
funny.
Sammy, by the way, on the record, Prosecutor Sarah Sammy lied to Judge Weimer. She said the only time the children were spoken to is inside the forensic interview. With the psychologist, the forensic interview. But you have evidence that police sat down with children. Investigator Romero sat down with children that are 9, 10, 14, 16, told them that Mustafa ran away from the scene, left their baby sister to bleed to death. Mustafa's in a coma, but they're lying to the children.
Be prepared. Now, Sarah Sammy enters the chat a document from your sealed file.
Now, Prosecutor Sarah Sammy tells Judge Weimer, Your Honor, no one met with the children. And then Judge Weimer says, would it not be concerning to you if there's evidence that showed the police tainted the children, weaponized the children against Mustafa?
This is the corrupt judge.
This is the corrupt judge. But what he's doing, he's putting it on the record so that way he's not held accountable. You're talking about 2.5 years. A man sits in solitary confinement. Evidence that's sealed by the county that showed they weaponized the children. Children that loved Mustafa. Google Nest videos that show they loved Mustafa. Police weaponizing children. And now 2.5 years later, the presiding judge wants to say, to the prosecutor, would it not concern you that the police, if there's evidence that show the police tamper with minor. The prosecutor says, Your Honor, first she says, no one talked to the children. And then the judge says, if there's evidence, did you look in any of the body cams?
She hasn't looked.
With officers sitting down with children? I mean, when you're sitting down with a child, a 9, a 10, a 14, and 16, as the child forensic unit, you're not going to sit down with children without body cams, without documenting that you're talking to the children. You're not going to sit with a 9-year-old without having a body cam. Specifically, when the investigator with the children forensic unit says, I record everything. Investigator Romero. Now, the prosecutor all of a sudden says, Your Honor, I'm going to look into to see if the children were spoken to or had any contact with anybody outside the forensic
That's a joke.
with the children.
That's
now, wait a minute. I'm looking at a document. Do me a favor. Pull up the document. I'm looking at a document that says on March 15,
that Sarah Sammy met with the minor, with a police officer.
Sat with the minors.
And we're asking who to look into this? We're asking Sarah Sammy to look to see if the police met with children without a psychologist, a trained specialist to deal with children.
Where is the body cam?
And Sarah Sammy's the one meeting with the minor.
I mean, here I have a document in Mustafa's case file that was entered on March 18, 2024.
And she tells the judge she doesn't know.
She tells the judge she doesn't know.
She says, I don't know. She's literally holding the officer's hand, walking him into a meeting with the minor.
On March 15, 2024, ACA Mallet, one prosecutor, Sarah Sammy, and myself arranged a follow-up meeting with Kylie Klebb, the 16-year-old, at the courthouse. The purpose of the meeting was to touch base with Kylie, the 16-year-old, the minor, to see how she was doing and see if she recalled what she disclosed during the forensic interview. Kylie was able to make a very similar statement as to the behavior of Mustafa Al-Jazari and her mother as she had previously during the forensic interview on September 8, 2023.
Where is the body cam from that interaction? You say she made statements similar to whatever. What did you discuss with this minor without the specialist that is trained to deal with children? What did you discuss with this alleged witness? The defense has a right to know. That's exculpatory information.
The defense is granted the body cams.
That information.
By the way,
you lied about it. Not only did you lie about officers not meeting with it, you're lying about yourself. She says, I'm going to go look. You're telling me you don't remember meeting with a minor, Sarah Sammy? You don't remember meeting with a minor, with the police?
A minor that you find out when you take the file, a body cam does show she didn't see anything. She says she didn't see anything. She didn't hear anything. Wait a minute. A minor that doesn't live at the apartment lives with her stepdad.
By the way, that's a month before the trial.
So she was never there. Wait a minute. 1, she was never there. 2, she says she didn't see anything. 3, she says she didn't hear anything. But she's claiming a giant story about Mustafa. The prosecutor for 2.5 years has been telling Judge Weimer, Your Honor, I have a witness that's going to come forward that Mustafa premeditated a murder. Well, when you open the body cam, not Kylie, not the other fake witnesses that the prosecutor brought, that apparently he or she's having a private meeting without body cam. Where is the body cam? They're coaching people, and they're so terrified now that the body cams are out that their witnesses on body cam say, we were not there, we didn't see anything. We're literally just manufacturing a story for you.
Let's go back to the main issue. Why is Brad Hayward not pursuing that anymore?
I'm going to show you.
I don't understand.
I mean, here,
I don't get it. Why is he not pursuing? What does he say in his?
This is the order from the Brady motion. Let me pull up the.
Like it's one thing. We know the prosecutor is corrupt. We know she's a dirty prosecutor. We know they're dirty cops. But what's up with the lawyer?
Let me pull up the document.
We're literally. You stole that document. That's not a public document. You have to dig deep into the prosecutor's ass to get it, and you got it.
Let me paint the scene for you. This case is sealed.
I mean, Brad, hello, we're giving you the evidence.
Brad is.
We're doing the research for you. By the way, we're doing research that your private investigator could do. That's the job of your private investigator. He's supposed to go through this file and obtain that document and tell you, hey, buddy, I got the document to show the prosecutor is lying to the judge on the record. Let's pursue it. Let's pursue it. And he doesn't. He says, oh, I'm satisfied. I don't need it anymore. Clearly, they threatened his life. They threatened his livelihood and his life, just like they did with Jarvis. I mean, no doubt about it.
I mean, I'm looking at the order, and Brad Hayward literally withdrew everything that Judge Weimer granted him to have access to.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want it anymore. I'm done. Get me out of this case.
One of the things that's so alarming here, I mean, it's so disturbing.
You're going to go over that?
Yeah, do me a favor. I'm going to, before we go from the beginning, I just want to go over this one. The Commonwealth, is it clear on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Court ruling, the Commonwealth shall inquire whether anything was said to the child witness prior to interview that might have influenced their statement. The court declines to order disclosure of internal communication under Section 18HV, except that the Commonwealth shall disclose any threat or intimidation experienced by its agent or... What does that say?
I can't read it. It's too blurry.
Okay. So that's not what happened in courts. Judge Weimer granted, I mean, here it says that
under rule, whatever, that they're not going to disclose it. But he specifically told Sammy, he told Sarah Sammy, would it not concern you if this is happening? And she said, it's not happening. He said, did you look? And she says, no, I didn't look, but I'm going to go look.
And Judge Weimer specifically ordered prosecutor Sarah Sammy to go and find body cams and evidence that show...
And give it to Brad Hayward.
And give it to Brad Hayward. Wait a minute. Here, Brad Hayward is agreeing, and they're saying that the judge did not grant the communication between police and the children.
Bullshit.
That's
bullshit.
Not,
that's not what he said. That's not what the judge...
But
we can read the transcript.
I mean, the order is not reflective of what actually took place in courts. I mean, I'm looking at an order where they're saying that the judge declined any body cam, that defense have any body cam or communication between the police
by the way, how does
and
that make sense?
The children.
How does that make sense? You're talking about officers like who says, I record everything. According to the children, they said they just talked to the police before going into the forensic interview. And now you're saying body cam doesn't exist? The child is literally telling you, police told us Mustafa ran away. And the psychologist says, Javen, how do you know that? The detectives told me he ran away and left my sister to die, to bleed to death. Okay, where is the body cam from that communication? How hard is it? I mean, listen. We know that Sarah Sammy and Officer O'Sullivan met with a minor, okay? If you're not producing body cam from what we have a document to, we know you're not going to release anything else. We know you're not going to go looking.
So you're telling me that Brad Hayward is granted access into body cam that show the police weaponized a 9, a 10, a 14, and 16, and he agrees in an order, in a Brady order, yeah, I'm not interested. I don't need those body cam. That's going to show that the police weaponize children against my client.
For anyone to say that's an order, you can openly object to that statement.
He's agreeing to it.
He didn't object to it.
He didn't object. He's agreeing to not having access to those body cam. This is the body cam where a 14-year-old Javen, who on Google Nest videos, we have the Google Nest videos inside the apartment, days on days of Google Nest videos that shows that children love Mustafa.
By the way, Google Nest videos that the police already have through Mustafa's cell phone data extraction, that they're hiding on a separate hard drive. Same videos that
the lawyer refused to sit down with Mustafa and go over.
He refused.
He's avoiding the hard drive. Now here in this video, and this is a forensic interview, Javen, the 14-year-old, says, the police told me that Mustafa, 1, he did it on purpose, 2, ran away, left my 5-year-old baby sister to bleed to death. Mustafa ran away. That's what the police are telling me. And that the police could have saved my 5-year-old baby sister if Mustafa did not run away. The problem here is Mustafa was in a coma. Mustafa was helicoptered to the hospital. Mustafa was in a coma. And here you have police lying to children, weaponizing children.
Coaching the children, abusing them.
Abusing children.
Oh, just play it. Let's hear it.
When he got into the car crash, the detective said he jumped out and ran.
The detective said he jumped out.
And if he just thought to bring her to the hospital, maybe she would have made it, but she didn't because he decided to be a coward. And now she's gone. And now all I have is my 2 brothers. She was the sweetest. She would never even hurt a fly. She was a citizen too. 25. Now my mom's gone. Now she's gone. It's because of one man that I trusted. My mom kept on telling me he's a good guy. I kept on saying, okay. All right, I told her I had my suspicions and I should have went with my gut. I knew something wasn't right, and I still believed her, and that's why they're gone today.
By the way, if you listen,
I always trusted him. Mom always told me trusted him. But after what the investigator told me.
if you notice, he's saying that.
So that gives you insight into the relationship.
He says detectives are telling him that Mustafa didn't even take Empress to the hospital. Do you see how? I mean, this is really bad.
I mean,
you
ran away, left my 5-year-old sister to bleed to death.
They're telling him Mustafa didn't take Empress to the hospital. He left her at the scene and he fled. Detectives are telling him that. So again, forget the substance. Where is the body cam footage from when detectives made communication with the minor? Where's the body?
I'm going to read the order. Do me a favor. You're already an exhibit. Okay, I'm going to read the order. What Brad Hayward already agreed to. He's granted the body cams by Judge Carol Weimer, and he agrees with Prosecutor Sarah Sammy and Prosecutor Stephanie Buck not to have access into those body cams. The court ruling says the Commonwealth shall inquire whether anything was said to the child witnesses prior to interview that might have influenced their statement. The court declines to order disclosure of internal communication under 18 HV, except that the Commonwealth shall disclose any threats or intimidation experienced by its agents. Now, here's the problem here. You see how it's grouped together? That paragraph is grouped together. And if you're reading it, what it shows is to decline any communication. And what communication from this paragraph? The communication that the police had with the children. That's how they're grouping it. And they're wording it in a way that they're saying the judge declined. That's
Judge
not
did not decline it.
We have the transcript. Judge Carol Weimer ordered Prosecutor Sarah Sammy to look into the missing body cam and provide that body cam to Brad Hayward. And here, he's agreeing to not pursue any of it. You're telling me
it's
a
obvious.
defense attorney, Brad Hayward, doesn't want to look into the police department weaponizing and abusing a 9-year-old, a 10, a 14, a 16? But you sit here and pride yourself that you have a civil rights organization. And you call your organization Justice Forward. If I didn't know any better, I would call it Justice Backward.
Yeah.
I mean, these are children that have been abused by the police department. I mean, I have the Google Nest videos inside the apartment that shows it's a beautiful relationship. But the police weaponized. I mean, Javen here in this video, he said, I trusted Mustafa. Mom always told me to trust Mustafa. So wait a minute. You're telling me that Mustafa's girlfriend always told her 14-year-old child to always trust Mustafa? That she trusts Mustafa? That the child trusts Mustafa? I mean, forget all that. We have the Google Nest videos inside the apartment. We're going to continue to put Brad Hayward under the microscope, and we're going to ask the hard question. What is Mustafa's defense attorney, Brad Hayward, doing in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case?
Was he threatened?
Why was he threatened by the police department? Why is he avoiding to sit down with Mustafa and go over exculpatory evidence? The hard drive that the prosecutor gave him from the cell phone dump is exculpatory evidence. Brad Hayward is avoiding the hard drive. The prosecutor is avoiding the hard drive. I can understand that. But your own defense attorney avoids it to protect the police department. I mean, isn't that what's happening here?
What were the reprimand files? Mustafa's entitled to know what was in the reprimand files. Why did these officers get reprimanded? And were they not certified? Do they not have the certifications to go forward?
Judge Carol Weimer said, by the end of September, I need you. The government already granted money for independent expert to reconstruct the vehicle and extract the full dash camera. Now, Judge Weimer in the transcript says, by the end of September, you're going to extract the video, extract the dash camera, and reconstruct the vehicle. Vehicles. Mustafa's vehicle and the other SUV. Reconstruct this whole accident scene. 2.5 years, they haven't reconstructed a vehicle accident. Now, Judge Weimer said by the end of September, the question for Brad Hayward, where is the extraction from the dash camera? We're in November, and trial is just around the corner in
Judge
March.
told him not to disclose it to the family. He did not tell him not to disclose to Mustafa. He's the defendant.
By law,
By
you can't.
law, he has to get the information.
He can't. The defense
When
attorney.
Mustafa asked him, he said, "What? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. F off, dude," and hung up.
Your
the
own
phone.
defense attorney tells you, "Fuck off."
He hung up the phone, and that was the end of that conversation.
We're in November, Brad Hayward. We're in November, and you haven't sat down with Mustafa and told him about his extraction from the dash camera, the audio and the full dash camera. You haven't sat down with your client, Mustafa Al-Jazari, and told him you reconstructed the vehicle. You haven't went over the hard drive from the cell phone dump.
And where are the missing body cams?
Where are the missing body cams? Well,
They're crucial to the case.
the orders show that Brad Hayward is no longer pursuing the missing body cam. That's going to show that the police department falsified Mustafa's statement, crushed and staged Mustafa's vehicle, weaponized a 9, a 10, a 14, a 16 against Mustafa.
They're not only biased, by the way, and the whole investigation, they've specifically and intentionally left out crucial information that contradict what this whole entire case is built on.
By the way,
The entire case is built on false narratives.
By the way, Brad Hayward is litigating that in a Brady motion.
I mean, you asked him who is Amy Hodson, and you and your private investigator, if you don't know who Amy Hodson is by now, I can tell you right now, you're doing something wrong. Okay? Who is Amy Hodson? Why was she on the phone with Drum? And where is the body cam where Drum is speaking to Mustafa? That body cam specifically, by the way, is what got Robert Drum reprimanded. What was the reprimand? Entitled to know. He's entitled to know. It's part of his due process, his constitutional right. He has to know, and he will know, whether you like it or not, whether the police try to hide it, the prosecutors. Mustafa's going to get his day in court. He's going to get justice.
Absolutely. The bottom line is, whether this defense attorney is compromised or not, Mustafa is patient. We are patient. And Mustafa has a giant platform that's growing every day, that's reporting on his case. Now, we're simply reporting on the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. I am here to eat Chinese food and cause damage. I'm here to talk shit about the county. Now, this case is sealed. Commonwealth's Amy Ashworth sealed. But here I am getting into the server of the police department, taking the file and leaking it all over the internet.
That's right.
Now, let me set the scene for you. There's a giant current that's blocking the community from seeing what they're doing behind this giant current. It's blocking the community from watching what the police department is doing in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. There's a giant curtain. So whatever they do behind this current, they're comfortable. They're falsifying a case, crushing and staging the vehicle, weaponizing children, falsifying Mustafa's name. I mean, at the end of the day, this case is sealed. When you put in a FOIA, you can't verify anything out of it. All of a sudden, I get into the server, and the curtain just falls.
The curtain has fallen.
The curtain has fallen. And guess what? The brother is behind the curtain with everybody, with his hands up everybody's asshole.
Wow.
Now, when you ask prosecutor Sarah Sammy on the record in court, and she says, this case is torturous.
It's torturous.
Now, how deep did the brother have his hand up your asshole? That is torturous. Well, prosecutor Sarah Sammy tells us it's torturous. And apparently, this brother is like an octopus. He has his hand up everybody's asshole. When the curtain fell, they're asking, we have the file. We have the body cams. We have the discovery. And now the DOJ unsealed the transcript. We can have transparency in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. Mustafa is patient. We are patient. And every day, this platform is growing. It's getting bigger. I'm interacting with the community. I have a giant truck that's going about telling people about what's going on in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case.
Justice will be served.
Justice will be served, whether Brad Hayward likes it or not. Now, this channel is not to attack Brad Hayward. We're here to empower Brad Hayward into doing the right thing.
I mean, we're simply reporting on the facts. We're reading the transcript. We're analyzing the decisions being made. And we're saying
Look.
When you're no longer pursuing misconduct and you all of a sudden drop it, it does not make
Look,
sense.
here's the thing. If you're upset, if Mustafa's defense attorney is going to sit here and be upset for me reading his transcript and what he said in court, Brad Hayward, you have a problem. You're doing something wrong. Because, I mean, just because Julie Carey and NBC4 is no longer reporting on this case, they reported on what the police department said on day one. Obviously, they lied. The body cams, the documents showed that the police department falsified the whole entire case.
They said there's no audio
And now-
when deep down on a document, it says, Kathy Ziman says, the driver had the audio capability turned on. There was audio, except for the last several videos, but there was audio.
Look,
What did they tell the community? There's no audio.
They falsified the whole entire case. They came out with the narrative. And now the file is all over the internet. Just because Julie Carey is no longer reporting on this case,
We're finding out that they're lying.
we are reporting on this case. Now, tomorrow or the day after or next month or, at one point, other outlets are going to report on this case. These body cams this file is all over the internet. Brad Hayward is upset. I mean, what the hell are you upset for, sir? I'm not attacking you. This is not personal. I'm simply reporting on the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. I am telling this community what you're saying in court. I mean, the transcript is unsealed. The DOJ unsealed these transcripts. And we're simply just reading what you're saying in court. You're going to get upset because I'm telling this community what you said? I mean, unless you're doing something wrong. I mean, obviously, when you take Mustafa's fund that the government gave him and you give it to the prosecutor's independent expert, the community is going to ask you, what the hell is going on here? When you're no longer pursuing body cams, that's going to show you the whole case is falsified. The community is going to ask you, why the hell not?
Why? Well, they're paying for it. Taxpayers are paying for it.
If you're upset because I'm reporting on this case, you are doing something wrong. Either you're threatened or compromised. I mean,
is he upset at Julie Carey for reporting on it?
Are you going to go and chase after Julie Carey for reporting on your client case? I mean, tomorrow, are you going to chase after every media outlet that reports on this case? Like, what are you doing here? This is not to attack you. If you're honest, we're here to empower you. If you've been threatened by the police, we're shedding light on what they're doing to you. So that way, you're not scared, that you can actually come forward. And we invite you to come forward on this platform and tell us what's going on. Tell us your side of the story. Have you been threatened? Are you scared? This is a unicorn. Where was the unicorn touched, sir?
Did state police enter your office yet?
I mean, we have Elaine Jarvis, where she says Virginia State Police came into her office. Raided her office and stole Mustafa's files. The hard drive that you're so terrified to sit down with your client over. Did state police raid your office? Were you threatened by Virginia State Police and Prince William County Police? That's a fair question. I mean, it's not adding up. What you're doing in this case is not adding up. And if you think this was going to be a walk in the park, I'm going to tell you.
Think again.
I'm going to tell you and remind you to think again. Anybody that's going to look up your name, sir, is going to look at what you're doing in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. I mean, as a lawyer, I'm sure you pay a lot of money to advertise your business. Now, how does it look when someone enters your office
and they see him give him money?
And when I retain you as a lawyer, and then they find out, they go home, look up Brad Hayward, and I come up. I mean, that's what literally happens. I come up when they look when
you're reading the transcript.
I come up and I'm literally reading your transcript, what you said in court. I'm not adding anything else. You literally took the money on transcript, gave it to the prosecutor's independent expert, a prosecutor that you say in your Brady motion has been falsifying and using officer to falsify a case, have been using officer that weaponized children. That's what you were litigating in the Brady motion. Now, on that note, we're going to continue to put Brad Hayward under the microscope. We're going to take a break, or do you want to end the podcast here? How long have we been going for?
2 hours and 14 minutes.
2 hours.
We're gonna end it here.
Look, I'm gonna tell you, if Brad Hayward made it on a slide in my intro to this podcast. He literally made it into a slide. Casey Stevens didn't make it into a slide. You must be doing something wrong in the Mustafa Al-Jazari that you literally were grouped up with the judge, the corrupt judge, Judge Weimer.
You're on a slide under a microscope.
You're on a slide on the and instead of putting Judge Weimer under a microscope, I'm literally putting you under the microscope. You are my main focus.
We have to know if he was threatened.
That's a good question.
It's very clear he was. There was 180 degree in the strategy, and he literally stood in court and said, I cannot do what Mustafa is asking me to do. Mustafa is asking for his accident reconstruction. He's asking for the dash cam with the audio to be extracted. Okay, and he's asking for the hard drive. And he's asking for the body cams that show police corruption, that show police abuse the children that he was taking care of. It shows police actively falsifying warrants, bringing in this manufactured identity, Amy Hodson. Who was Drum on the phone with when he was talking to Mustafa? Where is that body cam? We know Robert Drum was reprimanded for it. Why isn't Brad Hayward asking for it? And at the end of the day, it's like this. You are fighting for your client. Why would you not have everything at your disposal that shows police are corrupt in this case? They've lied and falsified in this case. Why would you not want that at arm's reach when you're going into trial? Why would you just ignore it?
Trial is just around the corner in March. Like you're telling me that you're going to take 1 terabyte of hard drive material. You're going to have to look at it, examine it, make it into exhibits.
He says, I haven't even gone through it.
He told me I haven't even gone through it. 1 terabyte
Why
of
not?
exculpatory evidence that's gonna show that your client is innocent of everything the prosecutor has been saying for 2.5 years. You having gone through it, you refuse to sit down with your client and go over it.
Instead, he wants to say these people are not coming into trial. Well, according to the documents, they're subpoenaed. Okay, that's number one. But the truth is, the prosecutor is going to bring in person A, who's a child, and she's going to say, tell us what Mustafa did to you. Why would you not expose that this child was abused by the police? You literally have the right to get these body cams. You have the evidence that this person, this child, was abused by the police. Why would you just disregard that? Why? This is your client. This is your case. You have to go in thinking you're going to win the case.
It's clear that he's protecting the prosecutor witness. Brad Hayward is protecting the prosecutor witness who's been, you're talking about children that have been weaponized by the police department.
The real question is why? Are you scared? Are you threatened? Did they like go into your office? What is it?
Evidence show that it's a beautiful relationship. You have the Google Nest videos. Evidence show that the police weaponized those children. You don't want to pursue the body cams. You don't want to pursue the evidence that show this police department lied.
By the way, the evidence is there in the hard drive. The hard drive is literally in your office.
Let's cut the bullshit. You don't need an independent expert.
Unless the state police took it, by the way. Unless state police went into his office and took it. You literally have the hard drive.
Look, here's the thing. Let's cut the bullshit.
Cut the bullshit.
You don't need an independent expert to extract the dash camera. The dash camera is downloaded when the police department did a cell phone dump on Mustafa's cell phone.
According to Blake.
According to a transcript where Mustafa's previous defense attorney, is telling Judge Weimer the dash camera is literally on the hard drive. On the hard drive. So this whole charade game of independent expert, it's a show. They think we're stupid. They think Mustafa's stupid. They think the community is stupid. The dash camera, before Chad Mason got to it, it's on the hard drive.
It's already on the phone.
You literally have an app that automatically downloads. You have the same dash camera.
I have the same dash camera.
The Google Nest video. I find it
if I log in right now into my dash camera on my phone, I have videos from today whenever I hit a bump, from yesterday whenever I hit a bump. The camera captures it. It stores it into an incident folder. I can literally log into rexing.com on my app right now, and I'll show you videos from today earlier when I was driving. I didn't download them. I didn't upload them. I didn't take my dash camera off, plug it into a computer. None of that. It's automatically downloaded.
Mustafa is coming home, whether Brad Hayward likes it or not, whether he's been threatened by the police department, whether he thinks he can protect the police department. Well, we're going to be here and we're going to continue to report on what Brad Hayward does in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. And we're objective.
The community's going to hold you accountable. By the way,
we're very objective in what is going on in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. When I sit here and tell you this is happening and show you a document or the transcript or the body cam, you can't get more transparent and more objective than that. I'm not telling you, oh, this is what happened. I think this is what happened. No, I'm literally showing you the transcript inside the court. I'm literally showing you a document from Mustafa's. I'm literally giving you the body cam that the police department falsified the whole entire case. And you literally have a Brad Hayward that's compromised. Either compromised or threatened. But what he's doing in this case does not add up. And it shows a lot. We're going to continue to put Brad Hayward under the microscope. I want to thank everybody for being here. Mohammed, do you want to say anything before we end the podcast?
No. I think you covered it.
I want to thank Mohammed for being here. I want to thank everybody for being here. Don't forget to hit the like button, share the podcast. We're going to continue to put Mustafa, defense attorney, Brad Hayward, under the microscope. Brother, you're doing something wrong that you literally made it into my slides. That's all I have to. Mustafa's defense attorney literally is doing something wrong that he literally made it into. I mean, Casey Stevens didn't even make it into the slides. On that note,
Elaine didn't even make it to the slides.
Elaine didn't make it into the slide. Don't forget to hit the like button, share the podcast. Make sure you take the YouTube link, put it on your Facebook, share it into your other platform. I want to thank everybody for being here. This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa through the police body cam. I want to say Judge Carol Weimer under the microscope, but I'm going to take Judge Weimer from under this microscope. Brad Hayward, Mustafa's defense attorney, you are under the microscope.
If any of that is posted anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed.
Okay.
Okay? If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay.
If you disclose that information in any way, all of it needs to be destroyed now. But if you disclose it in any way, it's going to put me in a position where I will have to withdraw from the case. If you all choose to go on the internet and try to publicize this stuff, that's going to create real problems.
Okay.
You can't do it. That's what I'm telling you. You cannot do it. I will have to move to withdraw from the case.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So make sure everybody's aware of that. Okay. If any of that is posted anywhere on the internet, we're going to have problems. Whatever copies have been made of that, those need to be destroyed.
Okay.
Okay. If they get disclosed, that is going to put me in a situation where I will have to withdraw from the case.
Okay.
If you